Good morning. Happy August. Well, it's not quite August for me, but it will be when this releases. And well, summer seems to have arrived. So that means the garden needs a water, and that's what I've been doing this morning. I've been watering everything that I think needs it, all my new dahlias that went in and all the new plantings that went in the beds, and of course the greenhouse, which I have been watering regularly. In fact, been doing pretty well with the greenhouse. Every 5 days, pretty much on the day, I've watered the tomatoes. I started sort of alternating between watering each plant and just watering in the pipes, but I'm doing both now because the fruit is setting, and yeah, I think it needs that water, and probably also a feed. I've been sort of feeding on and off. I haven't been so regular with that, but hopefully, I mean, they're looking pretty healthy, aren't they? What aren't looking quite so healthy are the chilies back there. I think they are in desperate need of a water. I think I sometimes forget that because they are in tubs, they need more watering than the tomatoes do, and it's not enough to just water those whenever I do the tomatoes. So that's something to bear in mind. So anyway, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to walk a dog, and then I shall meet you down the plot, because we really need to make a brassica cage. Those bags have got to come off the brassicas because they are pushing against them now. And yeah, I need some protection from the birds as well as the slugs. So we're going to head down to the plot. I'll meet you there. Well, I've just done a power hour on the plot, and it was really busy down here, so I'm taking advantage of this quiet moment now. I didn't get an awful lot done. Got some nasturtiums out, so those self-seeded nasturtiums that were in one of the beds in the home garden that I cleared. I kept those in water for a couple of days, and then I brought them down here and just dotted them around the various beds, so they've gone in. That's good. And the other thing that I did was water the tomatoes in the greenhouse because they were looking a little bit sad, so I gave them a water, and I also gave them a feed. So that was fine. Tick those things off. Other things to kind of update you on the plot is earlier in the week the skip arrived. So this is the council paid skip. We get one every now and again, not very often, and you have to be quick. And I think I'd come down here just to water before work, and I saw the skip and it was almost full already, and I was like, right, down tools, everything is about that skip. So this corner of the plot over here, where I had an absolutely enormous pile of rotted wood and pallets, which was from the old compost bays that I cleared to make room for the greenhouse, and I made my new compost bays at the side. I took all of that wood down and got it in the skip. So it's so nice to have cleared that little area in the corner, because it was such a dumpy, ugly looking little area. And the amount of slugs that I found in there was absolutely insane. So many slugs and snails under there. So that's got rid of that habitat down there now, and I'm hoping, because that was near the brassicas, that maybe the slug pressure will slightly reduce in that area. Now, the other thing that's new on the site, well, almost on my plot, is, I don't know if you can just see it in the background there, Mark has constructed a tiny lending library to put on the plot. So you know that the container down here is the shop, so people come to the shop on a Sunday, and now we've got the little tiny library at the end of our plots, so as people go to the shop, perhaps they'll go and have a little look in the library. And I brought a few books that Mum just gave me to pop into there, so it's going to be sort of fiction and general books in there, but also like a focus on gardening, and people can put seeds in and plant pots and all sorts of things that you might not want, but other people on the plot might get some use out of. So that was a pretty productive power hour on the plot. I'm going to head home now. I'm going to have a shower and get changed, because we're heading over to one of the villages in the local area that is having a yarn bomb. Well, I'm back on the plot. It's nearly 5 o'clock and the sun is still really hot. I was going to strim, but I don't think I want to strim in this heat. So maybe we'll do what I said I was actually going to do, which is think about this Brassica cage. So as you might know, my brassicas have been under cover, but they've been under like individual cover. So each brassica has got its own little produce bag on top of it, keeping the cabbage whites off, the birds off, and also the slugs off. And it's been working remarkably well. Now clearly it looks odd. It looks like they've all been cocooned, but they're actually growing really well inside the bags. And other than a few where I think a slug has found its way in, the majority seem to be pretty good. Even those cauliflowers that I put in, so these are the graffiti cauliflowers, and they were tiny, tiny when they went in. Now that one is still tiny, tiny, but that one has grown really well. I've lost a few things, so there are now gaps in this bed that I can potentially fill. And I can actually fill them because I kept some spares over here by the bath. So now they're not actually spares, they are the Brussels sprouts, and I haven't put any Brussels sprouts out yet. They definitely look like they've recovered from the pigeoning they got, which is why they're under this protection at the moment. So they also need some protection before going out. But I've got some brassicas there. These are some more of the cauliflower graffiti. Aww. And there's various bits and pieces under here as well, of also being protected from pigeons. Some of which, actually, I don't think would be too bad if it actually got out into the ground. Right then, what order shall I do this in then? I think fill the gaps first, get everything in the bed, then think about the structure. Okay, let's do that then. Well, change of plan. We got 4 brassicas in, but what my cousin just brought me is summer squash, and it was growing in her home garden, but she's got 2 of these on the plot and they are turning out to be massively prolific, and she's like, I do not need that many courgettes. So she's dug this one up. She's dug it up just moments ago, so I want to get it in the ground as soon as possible because this is obviously not ideal. It's even got enormous fruit on it, which I will obviously take off. But yeah, I think I'm going to put it right at the front of the plot. You remember that space I was like, what shall we put here? Well, nothing's growing there other than self-seeded tree spinach. So I think I'm just going to stick that in the middle of it. And if it wants to go mad, fingers crossed, then it'll have the space to do so. So let's get that in as quick as possible. I'm not sure it's going to survive, but it'll be interesting to see. What I did do was take off all the fruits and flowers so that it'll concentrate its growth on the roots. Didn't seem to have a big root ball on the bottom, which is surprising because it's a good sized plant. But yeah, we'll see. I'll check in with you a little bit later in the week and we'll see how that's been getting on. For now though, I think I'll get a couple more brassicas in, but it's getting too late to make the cage, so I shall just put bags over them. Oh, I can't put a bag over that courgette though, can I? What I have got are these little bell cloches. I bought them yesterday at the garden centre. My cousin just dropped them off for me. Oh, and some some plant pots. But actually, no, that's not big enough either. But you know what? This could go on. Down here by the Australian tree cabbage, I planted one of the 9-star broccoli. The others are in the tunnel bit down there, but I did plant one here and it's been doing superbly, but it's got too big for the bag. So let's take the bag off and put the cloche on. Let's have a look at you. Oh, that's the best brassica I've grown in absolutely ages. Ah, you lovely little thing. Right, so we want to protect you. Actually, I'm not sure if this is even... Is this going to be too small? Kind of. We better open the airy bit. The vent. Okay. Will slugs get underneath that because it's not very even ground? We'll put the pegs in. Yeah, it's going to outgrow this really quickly, but for the time being, that's okay. So as I was saying, I'm just going to pop in another couple of these brassicas. I'll put the produce bags on top of them to just protect them until I figure out this brassica frame situation. But we are going to do that this week, so stay with me. I'll catch up with you a little bit later in the week. Good morning. It's now 5 days since I last spoke to you. We are properly into August now, and because it's been 5 days, I've been watering the tomatoes again, and actually they've had a feed this morning as well. Nothing ripe yet, but you'll be the first to know when I do finally get a ripe fruit. But I haven't had to water the rest of the garden this morning, and that's because we had an almighty storm last night. So that was some much needed rain, and it's filled the water butt up, it's watered the garden. Of course, it also attracted the slugs back out. So I had a little bit of a slug hunt this morning, got quite a few. They were very much attracted, of course, to the dahlias, but yeah, moved those on. I am a bit concerned about the plot and what the rain might have meant for the plot, because some things did get a little bit battered as well, and I've had to stake them in the home garden, so that might be the case at the plot as well. But we'll head down there at some point and check that out, see how that courgette is doing as well. Last time I looked, it was still alive. Speaking of courgettes, check out these bad boys. I finally grew some actual normal sized courgettes. These are the Zephyr ones, so they have the green end, but that one didn't get a green end for some reason, but they're both definitely Zephyr, and yeah, looking forward to those, my first courgettes. So it's really reassuring that I'm now getting some stuff from the plot, small, but everything counts, especially because I have just started my hashtag August Eat In. And if you've been with me for a while, you might be aware of this. It's where every August I only eat what I can harvest, forage, or I already have in the house. So no food shopping during the month of August. So it's nice that some harvests are starting to come in, although part of the reason of doing this is not just to make yourself use the food that you're growing, but also if you're like me, you tend to buy things that just sit in cupboards, or your freezer gets just more and more crammed, and it's kind of nice to take a break from adding to that and just getting through some of this food that you've accumulated over the year. So that's what my August Eat-In is about. Some people are joining in this year, which is a first. This is my third year doing it. It's only my hashtag. I'm the only one using it. But this year, some people have decided to join me in it. So they are here, and you can follow them on the socials to see how they're getting on as well, or use the hashtag August Eat-In. So what I want to do is get some bread on the go. I've just put some sourdough cobs in the oven, and I thought I'd also make a cake. So we've got loads of blackberries coming, and I thought I might do a blackberry and cinnamon basil cake. So we'll do that together in a moment. But the other thing I thought I might do today, or at least going into this weekend, is start doing some of my August sowings. I didn't sow much during July. So the stuff that I pricked out and potted on last week, I think was end of June, beginning of July kind of sowings, and haven't sown anything for a few weeks. So this is what I've taken out of my folders as the next batch of seeds to be sown. Right, so I've gone for, well, I put the Welsh onions in and the garlics in last week, but I'm also going to start these green bunching onions, spring onions. These are Kyoto Market from Real Seeds. So spring onions. Lettuce. I have got some lettuce in those plugs, so we will have a little succession going. It's 37.5 in here at the moment. The storm last night cut through the heat. Oh, it was such a relief. But we are due a lot of warmth again today. It should be cooling down a little bit for the weekend. Sorry, barky dog. Can be sown May to October, so I'm going to do that one. I've got Chinese cabbage. This one is called Vichy. I'm guessing that is a Napa cabbage. And I want to grow these. I wanted to grow these for ages because of making ferments, making kimchi and things like that. So, yep, sauerkraut, kimchi, cabbage. I'm going to start doing some of my oriental greens, but I will succession these. So I've got Mibu, that one's Mibuna. And then I've also got some winter purslane or claytonia, so I'm going to do that one, and I've also got corn salad or lamb's lettuce, so I'll put that one in. Apparently you can do shiso now. I've got Perillo shiso green. Not had much luck growing this, so I'll just stick it in, give it another go. A rocket, and just some standard sort of salad bowl lettuce, come and cut again kind of lettuce. I think I've got some more seeds at the plot as well that I put there to be direct sown and then never got round to it. I did put coriander in, but then the fox dug up that bed, so I'm not sure if any of that will have survived. So we might put more coriander in, might put more dill in, and I think I've got more carrot seed at the plot as well, Chantenay and Paris Market. So we might get those in because they're nice little short carrots, so they should be fine to grow within the time that we have left in this season, because yeah, August, it's rapidly going along, and we've had such a poor start to it. I'm really hopeful for a long end to summer now. We need this heat to stay. Right, let's go pick some blackberries and make a cake. Okay, the cake is cool, and I thought I might sandwich it with some jam. And if you watch shorts, you may have seen an attempt at making jam that I had last week. Yeah, did not go well. But I've had another attempt since, and I'm hopeful, not tested it yet, I'm hopeful that this one is better. Okay, here we go. Yes! Oh, perfect! Perfectly set jam. Right, I'm not very good at cutting cakes in half. See how we go. Oh, there was a little bit of a crack in the middle. There we go. Oh, look at that. Well, I'm not sure it even needs jam, but we'll put some on nonetheless. This jam then is blackberry and plum. Be nice to have some like icing in the middle as well, but I don't think I can make icing. There we go. Right, I haven't got any icing sugar. Oh, yeah, right there. There we go, the first of what I assume will be many more cakes during this August eating. But it looks pretty good, doesn't it? Time for a slice. Welcome to the plot. It is Sunday afternoon. It is super quiet down here, very quiet. Even Dory's being quiet. She's over there somewhere. This makes me look like I'm in some kind of fortress. There is no need for these bamboo canes. Every single bean underneath them is gone. What isn't gone is the courgette that I put in earlier in the episode. That's looking okay. A little worse for wear, but I think it's going to pull through. And one of my own courgettes is fruiting, so that's really good. One of the exciting things is the cardoon has opened, so it's now covered in bees, so that's really cool. And the sweet corn as well has silks, so I've been going along and shaking the seed heads as I go by, because I've been down here a couple of times since I was last here or last spoke to you, just watering basically and keeping an eye on things. It really needs strimming, but it keeps raining, so I've been putting the strimming off. I have brought the batteries down, so I could do that at some point. But the thing that I really want to do, and I might repurpose these bamboo sticks for it, is make the Brassica cage. So I've been promising this Brassica cage since the beginning of the episode, and when I was editing the previous footage, I was like, I need to deliver on this Brassica cage by the end of the episode. So that's what I'm going to focus on, because the brassicas that are under there are really now pushing against the little produce bags that have been protecting them. So I'm going to take those off and fashion something to go over them. That's the problem really, is like something. I don't quite know what it is that I'm fashioning. I've got some kind of ideas in my head about using the poles and potentially the coloured balls as a like joint between the bamboo canes. But yeah, it's kind of hazy in my mind. So I think what probably the best thing to do is stick you on time lapse, see how I get on, and then I'll come back to you with what I've figured out, hopefully. Okay, see you in a bit. Well, we're a couple of hours later, and you may have noticed that my entire family arrived, and yeah, so I got slightly distracted by them. One of the great things, though, we did was harvest my nephew's cabbage. So I had a leftover cabbage when I first put mine in, and asked him if he wanted to put it in his little plot, and he did. I now have no cabbages, but my nephew had a great little cabbage, and so we harvested that, and that was very nice little moment, and he was very happy with it, kind of thinking that it's a big Brussels sprout. so he's taken that home to have with his dinner, and Mark was harvesting some beetroot and shallots and things as well, so that was really nice. My cousin came down with Lottie as well, so she was on the plot, and then yeah, well, things descended into slight madness because my nephew found the bag of balls and decided that it'd be really fun to throw them all over the plot. And it was fun, but he did have to pick them all up afterwards and not step on my squash while he was doing it. So despite all of that, I did manage to get the Brassica cage finished, and it did work. So the vision that I had did work, and essentially all I've done is create a frame with bamboo canes, just a square frame, and used the bigger balls that are a bit firmer as this kind of joint. So I've seen this before. I've seen that you can buy things like this that connect bamboo canes together, and but I thought the balls would do the same job if you pierce 3 holes into them, and it did. And a strong gust of wind may see it topple over, but we shall see. I'm feeling quite confident in it. Less confident in the fact that I have not actually put insect netting over it. I've just got a kind of netting that, yeah, the cabbage whites will get through. However, that's what I've got to work with at the moment, and it will keep the pigeons off. And I've left the bags on anything that was still relatively small. So I've just taken the bags off the ones that were pressing against them. So some of the Cavalier Nero kale is now subject to the elements. So good luck to it. And then the other thing I managed to fit in amidst the mayhem was putting in the Brussels sprouts. So they have gone in the bed that I originally intended them to go in, but when I placed them out, they got pigeoned. Within like an hour, they were pigeoned. So they've since recovered, and now they've gone out into that bed. And that one I did have some insect mesh for, so I've covered those up as well, given them a water. So yeah, finally, Brussels sprouts are in the ground. Not sure we're going to have sprouts for Christmas. I've never had sprouts for Christmas. I've never had sprouts really full stop. I am not a good grower of sprouts, but maybe this will be the year. So the last thing I want to do before I go is show you a snake bean flower, because I've been teasing it, and every time we come down here there isn't one in bloom. And alas, there still isn't one in bloom today. But I did capture one earlier in the week. So enjoy, and I shall see you next week.